Hello, everybody. Welcome to Savvy Women of Social Media. I am Michelle, and today I am talking with Carole Nier, and we're going to be talking about how COVID has affected us differently, and with personal and business, actually. And I am looking for her bio that I asked for, and there we go. Okay. So, Carole Nier is a certified holistic health and nutrition coach and independent wellness consultant with Isogenics, is dedicated to educating and empowering you to improve the quality of your health and your life. She provides powerful and engaging interactive workshops, which she does, group and individual coaching programs, and teaches you how easy living a healthy lifestyle really is. Health is so much more than just the food you eat. Carole's passion and enthusiasm for healthy living is contagious. You'll walk away with the newfound knowledge and tools you can use and start applying to your life right away. Your health is the most valuable thing you own, so you want to protect it fiercely. So welcome, Carole. How are you?
Great. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So if you guys are watching on Facebook, try and come on the Zoom so that you can participate and ask questions because I'm not monitoring the group until after. Otherwise, put your comments in the group and we'll make sure to go back and answer them. So you're traveling right now, it looks like. Where were you?
Yes, down in southern New Jersey on the coast, so Jersey Shore, which is quite nice. My first time there. It was nice. That last beach day.
Yeah, I know, right before fall starts.
Right?
So let's talk about, you are a certified health coach, and I've seen you do training videos online for workouts and stuff. So how did COVID affect you? Let's start with your personal life. How did it affect you personally, if it did any?
Personally, I think it was a surprise for everyone what happened. It was so sudden when everything just shut down. It wasn't like, this is coming. It was, I think, the abruptness of it. And that threw a lot of people into a tailspin. But for me, it didn't really throw me off other than you had to revamp your schedule and do things a little bit differently. So from a personal perspective, I wasn't stressed about it or, worried or because first of all, I didn't think it would last this long, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was the part that kind of kept me calm in the beginning, like, oh, this is just going to be, a month or two at best, and then, we're going to move on. So I wasn't worried about it that way. And then when the first month goes by, you kind of figure out, okay, I got to start doing something different.
Yeah. So how did it affect you? Because you were doing workout classes at the Y, is that correct?
Yeah, so I'm a group exercise instructor and I teach at 3 local Ys. I teach at the Northwest in Greece. I teach at Maplewood, which is right on the edge of the city, and West Side over in Gates. So I was teaching anywhere from 7 to 10 classes a week. And then all of a sudden, ka-ching, we were actually in a staff meeting at Maplewood, and the director said, I have to leave early because they'd called an emergency meeting. And that was the day they shut the Y down, March
Oh
13th.
my goodness.
So we were there
So,
right till the very end.
oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we had no
So,
warning of any type. It was just class, the Y's closed.
wow, that must have been scary though.
It was quite a shock. So
Yeah.
that's why what I did is I started, like you mentioned, doing the training online. So I started doing Facebook Live classes because I figured I'm going to be working out anyways, and people want to continue to work out, the fitness, just the stress relief of it all, because there's so many health benefits of just movement. I mean, and that's what I always preach to people. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Because some people say, oh, I can't do your moves, it's a little advanced. And I always show alternatives for them, so modifications. So if you have an injury of any type, so I just started doing those online and not charging anyone because I'm like, people are losing their jobs or they're out on unemployment and they don't know what's next. And why add one more stressor to figure out how am I going to pay for getting my workout in that's supposed to reduce my stress? So
Yeah. Well, that was very awesome. So with the Y shut and you doing those online, so that was one way you pivoted. How did it affect your business your other business where you're a certified coach, you're helping people get healthy? How did it affect that business and how did you have to pivot for that?
well, everybody kind of put everything on hold. So that was, the biggest thing there is like, not right now. You get that a lot, not right now, because people didn't know where the money was going to be coming from. So they weren't spending money. So the other thing was I was with Zija International prior to COVID, and then we transitioned into Isogenic. So we merged as a company. So not only was my personal coaching business changed, but my business with Zija becoming Isogenics was a change because it's new products, new systems, new people, and all that. So that was a learning process as well. But it's just, I'm big about education. So like I got online quite a few times just talking about COVID and boosting your immune system and superfoods that you can use and, you know, how to make a smoothie that can boost your immune system because they keep pushing vaccine, 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 where
Mm-hmm.
we can do so much on our own by just the foods we eat, you know, the company we keep, the exercise we do or do not get, you know, and the stuff we put in and on our body. So like, you know, the lotions and stuff that we use because there's so many chemicals. And if we can detoxify at different levels, and like you read in my bio, you know, health is much more than just the food you put into your mouth. So I, you know, did a lot of education on that, sharing information. And then I post every Monday, for example, I do a meatless Monday recipe to help people transition into a plant-based diet if that's what they're looking for. That's just another way to, you know, boost your immune system and do things in a slow manner because, you know, people fear change, number one, and fear can really beat up your immune system. It wreaks havoc with your body. It's a stressor, if you will. So when I teach people how to change their way of eating, it's not like, you know, go empty your pantry, we're going to go shopping and this is all you're going to eat. Because people think grass and twigs, right? That's not, you know, that's not what we're
Yeah, I
eating when
know.
we do plant-based. And there's so many different ways to cook plant-based. I mean, I am surprised how easy and fun it is and so tasty. So that's why I always share a recipe like every Monday so that people can have an idea how to do it. And then with individual coaching, you know, or group coaching, that type is another way to do it. So it's been really fun. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. So another person who's really done really well with the COVID, I think that's awesome. But it's fun to hear how other people are handling it and how they had to pivot. Did it affect you emotionally any? Because I talked yesterday with Kate that I know for the first, I don't know, couple weeks, maybe the month, I felt depressed because you're like, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you got to wear these masks. Your life is changed dramatically within a second. You know, the kids aren't going to school. So I went through a little depression. And honestly, so did my husband. My husband was used to being at a job every day, you know, 7 in the morning till 6 at night, doing the work and cooking and all of that. And then all of a sudden, the restaurant's closed for 3 months. So it took him a good couple of weeks to adjust as well. Did you have any of those issues when you were going through, you know, when it first hit or even after?
Yeah, I went through a phase where it was like, you know, you kind of get depressed. It's like, okay, because you don't know it's the not knowing what's coming. It's the
Yeah.
unknown that causes that a lot. And it was, you know, I went through a phase where I'd be kind of down. And then, but what really honestly kept me very positive was doing those Facebook Live exercise classes on a daily basis because it was like teaching a class and it was like being with other people, even though I couldn't still do them because I didn't want to do Zoom because you get limited on the number of people or you know, people are afraid they have to pay or they don't understand the technology and then it's limited and like Facebook Live lives on, if you will. So
Hmm.
people could catch it in their time zones because I had people all around the world. I had a lady from New Zealand. I had somebody from Puerto Rico. I had a guy in India. I had friends in Canada and about 8 to 10 different states across the United States. So we were all over the place, but they could do it in their time zones, which was great. And that was something to look forward to and kept my schedule almost normal, if you will, regular. So that really helped to have that normalcy in my life because I got up every day and I was going to exercise with, even though that I couldn't see them, I knew they were on there because like with the Facebook Live, you get the comments and stuff. So it really made a huge difference in keeping me mentally. But I think with the up and down weather, I think that was a big factor too because we had snow right until what, April, May? It
Oh,
was crazy.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you'd look out and it would be gorgeous. Like I did a couple outdoor workouts. It was chilly, but I could still do them outdoor. And then you look down and it'd be
It was
snowing.
snow.
Like, I mean,
Or
you're like, what are you doing?
raccoons.
it was
Or
like you just can't
raccoons. I
wait.
remember the raccoon on your table.
Oh, right. That was an unexpected visitor. Yes.
That cracks me up. See, your posts, even though they are motivational and food and your posts make me laugh though. The ones like that one, that I was having a bad day that day, I remember. And I looked at that post, I'm like, what is on her table? And it was a raccoon.
And it was
So that made me laugh.
that raccoon. There was like no telling no to that raccoon. My husband and I were literally grabbing our dishes off the table, running inside, and we got the door closed just as it came up on the deck. Because I
Oh,
swear it would have taken the plates right out of our hands. It
oh
was
that,
crazy.
that made me laugh, that story.
Oh God.
So, how did you have to pivot your marketing in order to get those people from other countries? That's great, New Zealand and all that,
Well,
Canada. How did you market yourself then?
basically, it was doing the lives, and I would do the stories. So the Facebook stories, I put a post on that, and I find people tend to look at that quickly. So you can really increase your marketing through that platform because a story is different than a post because the story is quick. It's like a picture, it's like a second, and then it scrolls through to someone else, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is very quick and it makes it easy for people to take a look and whether I want to, take a deeper look at it, where I would post, this is my Facebook Live class at this time. So it was like boom. So that's was another way to get a lot of people. I also used Instagram as well, and then on my Facebook personal page and on my business page.
That's
So and then I
awesome.
just kept telling people, invite people, invite people. It's free. Let's make this a community, and we use the hashtag We Move Together. So that was another thing I did for the hashtag to get people to try and use that. And I keep telling them, we move together, use that hashtag, invite friends, and it's usually word of mouth. I mean, that's a lot of times where you get your best marketing in any type of business you're in, really.
Now, I don't go to the gym, so I don't know, but the gym is open now, correct?
It just opened on Friday. So they
Okay.
haven't started group exercise classes indoor yet. They
Okay.
start after Labor Day. But I've been teaching outdoor classes, and prior to that, because of the Facebook Lives that I was doing the workouts, the Y actually called me and said, "We've been following your page. Would you do those live Facebook workouts for the Y?" So I started doing that 2 days a week. And actually, what
Nice.
kind of went viral is I did a toilet paper workout out on my deck where I did rolls of toilet paper. We actually used those in our workout as equipment. So we did like jumps with them, we lifted them, we moved them, we were jumping over them, and we were doing, leg lifts around them. So it was actually really cool. And a friend of mine actually works for Channel 10, and she happened to put it on the news as,
Oh,
a community thing, what we were doing. So it kind of went viral that way as well, which was a complete surprise to me. I had no idea that was going on.
that's awesome.
Yes,
That's,
it
yeah,
was
I
really
didn't know
fun.
that.
So it was a great way to connect with more people. And as you keep going and people will say, I did a workout with Carole, and, they'd post about it or whatever, or they'd share the workout itself because where it was a Facebook Live, it was shareable. So
Yeah.
that made it really nice. And again, that's how we, created this community of people all over the place.
So how will you be able to go back to the Y after Labor Day? Will you start doing classes again, indoor classes or outdoor?
We are doing indoor classes, so it's a modified schedule at this point, and everyone has to wear a mask, which is going to be challenging for a lot of people, even for me as an instructor, because
Mm.
I've never worn a mask doing a workout. So I'll be finding out next week how this goes. But we're still doing outdoor workouts until October, till Columbus Day weekend, which is nice because I've talked to many people that have been doing my classes and working out with me, and they're saying they're not ready to go back into a gym just yet
Mhm.
because of the COVID, the unsure. We don't know. The colleges have gone back and they've had some outbreaks. The,
Yeah.
the schools, public schools haven't gone back yet. So we haven't seen what that has produced. So going back into the gyms, and of course we have the elderly population who are at a higher risk and
Mhm.
need to protect themselves. And we have to be aware of that and cognizant of not only are we, making the gesture to help them, but it's making them feel safe and comfortable. We may be uncomfortable for a bit, but you also have to make that decision on your own. And it's not right or wrong for anyone. And that's something that I really want to stress, that the decision you make is based on your personal circumstances because we don't know everyone's story. No
Yep.
matter what, how close you are with a friend, you may know 95% with your best friend, but most people, we don't know their story. We don't know how sick they've been or relatives that have been affected by them, or because some families have experienced, death with this. And this is nothing to take lightly. So the decision you make is based on you, your comfort level, the people you feel you need to protect, how you want to protect yourself, the people you feel you want to interact with. Because yes, there are going to be people out there that are going to be inconsiderate and like, I don't care. This is how I'm doing it. This is me. And they can't do me in these environments. You can take your me attitude elsewhere, but when you're in a community environment, you really have to be connected to the people and aware of how you're affecting other people. Just, courtesy. That's why I'm trying this with the mask, with the workouts, to see how it goes. If it's something I'm able to do, then that's my decision to step down if I need to for the time being and just continue with the outdoor till things change, because nothing's permanent as well, right?
Yep.
Things are transitioning and becoming different, and we just kind of have to go with the flow, but not base your decisions on fear. That's one of the things I really want to stress. Do it on logic, and maybe try it out, try one, see how you feel, or go before there's even a class, and just how do you feel in that environment. Do you feel comfortable? Are you looking around and seeing people with masks? How does that make you feel? They're everybody's upping up their cleaning, so the cleaning protocol and all that, sanitizing is intensified in all our environments. But then you also have the residual of the chemical sprays and the hand sanitizers, because that is a form of toxin. So people with lung issues or issues like that, we don't know the long-term effect of using these cleaners day after day, hour after hour. Seriously, because any environment you go into, you are exposed to cleaners, because again, like I said, they are intensifying their routines. So it's another thing to be aware of.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I think people don't respect others' way of life enough. Um,
Exactly.
I'm always afraid to say I'm keeping Mikey home, but you know what? I don't care. That's my choice because we do
Exactly.
have underlying health issues, and my parents and my husband's parents are not the youngest, and we don't want them getting sick, and some of them have
Right.
underlying issues.
Right.
I think we need to respect others' opinions more. I don't like when I go into a store and I don't see a mask on. That does freak me out a little bit.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
people aren't respecting the other people around them. And I think
Right.
that's not right.
You
So
know,
how, go
in
ahead.
the time that you go into a store, I mean, it's what, 15, 20 minutes at most.
Hmm.
It's not
Hmm.
it's not like you're in there for hours. It's not like you're browsing shopping like we used to, right?
Yeah.
You're on a mission. You're going in, you're getting
Yeah,
what
you're
you
going
need.
in, you're going out. Exactly. I haven't been in a regular store. I go to Target for groceries sometimes, Walmart for groceries, and Tops.
Okay.
I once in a while I'll take Mikey to like Five Below just to get him out of the house, but
Right.
I don't go. I don't eat in restaurants yet. I'll eat
Yeah.
outside. I
Yeah.
just started that like a couple weeks ago.
I just
Um,
went for my first time the other day, but it was outdoor. Because
yeah.
here, when we were in New Jersey, they don't have indoor seating yet. So they're not even allowed to eat
Okay.
indoor yet. So they haven't progressed as far as we have in New York, which I thought
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah, I know it's weird how every city is different. So
Yeah.
how are gyms keeping people safe? Because we do want to get back to some sort of normalcy.
Right.
How are gyms keeping people safe now,
Well,
especially
you
with
have your a health scan that you can do prior to coming to the gym, and it's connected to the U of R, the University of Rochester, for those that aren't familiar with it. So it's a health scan that you can do, and it asks you questions. Have you been around? Have you been exposed? Do you know anyone that has COVID? That type of stuff. You take your temperature and whatnot. And if you haven't done that scan, if you've done the scan, it will actually give you a green check mark. So when you go to log in at the Y, you show them that check mark and they're like, oh, you've done your scan. We know everything's good. If you haven't
Okay.
done that prior to, then you can actually get your temperature taken right there at the door, which they will do. And they'll have to do that to you before you go in. And there's hand sanitizer right there and whatnot. And if you're planning to do classes, you have to register prior to. They start registering 24 hours before a class. And then there's 33% capacity throughout the building. So like if you're in the wellness center where the weights are, there's only going to be 33% capacity. Also with the wellness centers where the treadmills and the bikes and stuff like that are. So you'll be able to space yourself out from people because the 33% capacity and the chances that everybody in the room is using treadmills is, very low.
Mhm.
And there's hand sanitizer stations throughout the building, and then there's cleaning stations throughout the building. So they ask members to clean before you use any equipment and after you use any equipment. And then the staff is cleaning every 2 hours thoroughly throughout the building. And then, of course, at nighttime, they'll do because we have reduced hours, they're going to be doing even more thorough cleaning. So they're doing a great job. But the Y is only opening 6 Ys to have classes in them at the moment here in the Rochester area. And they're doing that to see how it goes, because they're like, we don't want to open up all the Ys and then we have to shut them back down. So we're going to try with these 6, see if we have to make any adjustments, how the protocols play out, how the people react, the members that come in, of course, and is this the way we want to move forward? So I really, appreciate because they've thought this through. It's not like, okay, we're just ripping the doors open, everybody come running back in.
Yeah.
That's what people want to do, but they're not allowing that. So it's a very controlled process, if you will. Some find it frustrating, others find it comforting. So again, you have to do what's right for you. There is no right or wrong, and there's no shaming people because they make a choice different from you. It's what they are comfortable with. And again, safety first. I mean, seriously,
I wholeheartedly agree. I know it's weird. They just opened the Y down the street from me, I don't know, in October of last year, and it was only open for a few months before COVID. And it was so weird driving by and seeing an empty parking lot. But now I am seeing cars, there, but obviously not like it was when it first opened. Unfortunately, it is sad. But how did your family get affected by it? Because I know you have 3 kids.
4 kids.
4 kids, and they're all over the country.
They're all over the country.
Yeah. So how did your family get affected by it?
We don't know anyone personally that has had COVID or has passed from COVID. So our family hasn't been affected in that way by being infected. I know people that kind of work around it, if you will, in healthcare, but because I do food prep as well for a healthcare worker. So but I am in and out of her house on delivery. I don't, hang out with her, or she's not there. I'm just like, I'm the delivery person. I'm in, I'm out, I'm in the fridge, I'm out of there, within minutes. And I, use the hand sanitizers and the cleaners and whatnot. And, but just basically staying connected with the kids. My daughter actually was in Bogota, Colombia, and got out of there just hours before they closed the airport. It was the Wednesday. I think they closed on a Wednesday, and she got out Tuesday night, flew back to New York, and she had worked in New York City. So when she flew back to Columbus, Ohio, where she lives, she actually self-quarantined for 14 days. And she works for Deloitte, and they're like, all travel has stopped, so, we're not going anywhere. And then, of course, my daughter was in college, the youngest one, so she was out at St. Louis doing nursing, and then she was gone on spring break and came back just as all this shutdown hit, and they extended their break for a week, and then they emptied the campus on, I think it was March 22nd or 27th. But she stayed, so she was living just on the edge of campus, but it was off campus. So she was able to stay and finish her classes online and clinicals, which was a little frustrating. But then she ended up getting a job in the hospital over the summer. She started in April. So she's been working in the hospital. She's been working actually on COVID floors. So she's had experience that way, which, as a mother, you're like,
yeah,
okay,
but God bless.
breathe, because we're always looking for minimal exposure, right?
Yeah.
But this is what she's going to do for the rest of her life. So she has to figure out, this is a learning process for her as well. And for me.
Yeah, for you, for sure.
And then my other son moved from California to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to right around the 4th of July. He got there at the beginning of July. And that was a time when California had shut down, had opened. But when he drove across Arizona and New Mexico, they were shut down. And he was, of course, less than 24 hours. He's like, I got to keep zooming through. So he didn't have to worry about the actual self-quarantining. So he made it to Oklahoma fine and, on his job. And he's been tested at his job and he's fine. So it was kind of interesting. And then my other son, who's in Colorado, he does rock climbing, and that was his biggest concern. Work was fine. He was working from home, but he wanted to be able to rock climb. So that was his priority, which is an outdoor sport. So it's been great.
That is too funny.
My husband has worked from home the full time. because
Okay.
he's on the phone and conference calls all the time. And, his form of exercise, he's a competitive runner at the national level. So, of course, running you can do anywhere, which is outdoor. So it's been, really good that way.
That's good. I'm glad. So what have you been doing to keep busy though? Besides the workout classes and all that, what have
Oh
you
my
been
gosh,
doing
I'm
like
like, I'm always
puzzles
on
or
the
anything like
go.
that?
I've been always on the go. I'm always learning. That's one of the big things. I'm always learning. So I'm always on like a summit or a webinar or a workshop to do with nutrition and wellness. Because of course, with this COVID thing, it was all about pivoting, everybody pivoting their business. And for me, being a nutrition coach, it's mostly online anyways. I have met with clients in the past one-on-one because that's what they prefer, but I'm also able to coach online, which makes it easy because everybody was home. So that was very easy. And then I've done some group coaching as well. So I've done a detox. I've run a detox, which is a group program, which I run through a Facebook page, which is great because it allows people to, get rid of toxins, not only through their food, but also learn, because I do like a big educational
I
piece
got to
on it.
do that again with you.
Oh my
I,
God.
I,
And
I
that's one of
definitely
the
got to do that.
takeaways. Yeah, that one of the ladies said, it wasn't so much the detox, which was great, but it was the education that you provided. I learned so much. And
Hmm.
she's like, I want to share this with the world. I'm like, I know, but the world needs to be ready for it. They have to be able to hear it and act on it, not just hear it, because you can, it's like one of those, it goes, okay, heard it in ear, out the other ear. And they're like, oh yeah, but it's like when you decide to make a change, that's when you're ready for it. And I think people are beginning to decide to change and do better for themselves, because they're seeing there's much more to health than somebody poking you in the arm with a needle, because who knows the side effects, especially the speed at which they're bringing this vaccine to market.
I know. I
That
just
is
saw
the biggest
something on
concern for
Channel
me.
13. I think it was Channel 13, our local station here in Rochester, um, that by November 1st, there's going to be a vaccine.
And
And
that,
I
I
just
mean,
saw
that
that this
scares the
morning.
daylight.
Yeah, and I
When
don't
they
know if I
bring,
would trust it.
well, how much testing have they done?
I
Human
didn't read the
testing is
article
like
yet.
zero. That's the thing. And to
Yeah.
bring a pharmaceutical drug to market, people may not be aware of this. It takes anywhere from 8 to 12 years to bring one pharmaceutical drug to market. Years. And
Yeah.
they want to bring a vaccine that they want to populate the entire population with. They want to
And that's,
immunize. And they're going to do it in less than a year. I mean, not even a year. And I'm sorry. There's just too many risk factors, I think. And
yeah.
who knows whether it will create something. That's the thing. This COVID they call it a novel COVID because it's new and different, but it's very similar to other ones we've had experienced in the past. It's just a little bit different. It's got a twist to it. But it also is a type of virus that can change itself. It can mutate into something different. So it's like the flu. The flu vaccine that they do yearly, they never know what flu is going to be prominent. There's so many different types of flu. So they roll the dice and say, well, we haven't had this one for a few years, so let's make the vaccine target this type of the flu virus. And it's maybe at best a 10% rate that it works at best. So think about it, Michelle. If you went out and you got in your car and you turned it on every single day, but it only worked 1 out of 10 days, how
Mm-hmm.
long would you keep that car?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Yeah.
that's the flu vaccine. It works 1 out of, 10 times, 10%. It's
I
ridiculous.
honestly don't get the flu shot. I haven't in even before I married Aldo, and that's 15 years
Right,
almost.
right.
And Mikey, I didn't make him get one, I think the last 2 years. And Aldo, he doesn't get one. But I've been hemming and hawing this year because of COVID and the flu, trying to mix. So
Right.
I don't think I'm gonna do it because, but
I
they
know
put
I
that
first
fear in your
won't.
head. They put that fear in your
Exactly.
head.
Exactly. The fear. And that's, I don't want to live my life based on fear. I would rather eat good food and boost my immune system by having an incredible smoothie that has like chia seeds and flax seeds and,
I know I gotta get back to
spirulina
that.
and kale and, all that great
I was
stuff.
so good exercising up until April, and then something happened in my life, and I just stopped. And I
And
haven't
that's what happens
exercised
for a lot of
since.
people. They shut
Yeah.
down. And as
Yep.
soon as you say, I can't, that closes
Yep.
doors.
Yep.
So what I always tell people, instead of saying I can't, say how can I? It may not be the
Um,
exact same, but what can I do or how can I? And then figure out a way to make it work.
I
So
think
what
I
if you
know.
have to do it at home, or you do your
Yeah,
push up on your knees, or
I
you
do at
you
home
use the
anyways.
right. And I was having people use fruit cans because they couldn't find weights. Go
Yeah.
get a gallon of milk and put sand in it or water in it. That's 8 pounds.
Yeah.
If you can't
I'm
buy a weight,
definitely
then what?
now that Mikey's gonna go. I used to exercise when he was at school in the
Right.
morning. I would get
Right.
him on the bus and then I would exercise and start my day. Well, after a couple of weeks of him being home and trying to figure all this remote learning crap out, I just got so frustrated I stopped with everything. But now that he's starting school next week and he'll be on the computer for hours, I'm definitely going to be starting up again and starting my smoothies again because I feel better when I exercise
Exactly.
and eat healthier.
Absolutely. Because not only does it increase your endorphins, which is your happy hormone, but
Yeah.
it's a stress reducer. And what
Yes.
are people feeling through this time of
Stress,
uncertainty? Stress. So for me, it's
anxiety.
always been stress management. And the cleaner and healthier your diet is, the less you are affected by anxiety and depression. It's
Yeah.
clinically proven.
Yeah.
And what do we turn to when we're stressed? Junk food, sugar, pizza. So it's all the crap food. And what
Chips, cookies.
exactly? And what
That's
are the
me.
triggers for anxiety and depression? Those bad foods. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's interesting because I just received a text about a week ago from a young lady that I worked with. She was a college student and she had had trauma in her life. She was very much in depression and huge anxiety, going to college. She was an RIT student. And I got a text from her the other day. She goes, "Hey, this is Rachel. I don't know if you remember me, but I'm just reaching out to let you know that, my anxiety's gone, my depression's gone. Everything you told me was so spot on. Even though I
Mhm.
was skeptical and I had to do some research on my own, she said, I really appreciate everything you've done and for showing up and keep doing what you're doing because it's really important
That's
work and it really,
awesome.
really makes a huge difference." And that was just out of the blue. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much because I
Mm.
don't do this for me. I do this for other people because I have had, health in my life, family members around me dying at very young ages, and me being, you know, that's something you don't forget.
Mhm.
Like 11 years old, answering the phone call when your grandmother is gasping for air, having a heart attack.
Mhm.
You don't ever forget that. My
Yeah.
cousin, who was 27 years old, dropped dead on a dance floor on my 16th birthday, Michelle. You don't forget that. So
No.
that's why I've always made health the mission, but there's always a room for improvement. I'm not perfect. I never will be perfect. It's a journey, it's not a destination. So, anyone that I can get to jump on this train with me and we have fun learning and can improve our lives and feel better and look better and be healthier, not only are we doing this for ourselves, but think of, you're a role model for your son.
Family. Yep.
Aldo sees you, your
Yeah.
friends see you, your family sees you, like, "Whoa, what are you doing different? You look different. You have more energy. Your skin looks great.
And
You're
I need that
glowing."
too.
But
Yeah.
it's those little changes, and it's not always going to happen overnight. And
No.
that's not what I
And
teach,
we all
you know,
slip. Like I said, I haven't exercised or done my smoothie since
right?
April. So we all slip.
I
And I
had cookies yesterday.
think though, because of everything I was going through, there's other issues on the side that I don't want to get into now. But I think all the stress I was going through, and then Aldo got sick during COVID, and I couldn't be with him. Um, I needed that break, I think, and I needed
Absolutely.
to take time for myself.
Absolutely.
And I was okay with not exercising. I still tried my best to eat healthy. Yes, I had my chips at night or whatever every so
Right.
often. But I guess my next question for you is because everybody's so stressed and anxious and depressed and going through all this fear, what are a couple tips that they can do at home to take care of themselves better, to try and get themselves motivated to take better care of themselves? Because I think now with all of this time that we're spending at home, we're looking at ourselves differently. We're looking at our families' lives differently. We're seeing what we can do better. So what are some
Right.
tips?
Well, first of all, I just want to mention that change doesn't happen overnight. So
Yeah.
we have to start doing how we want to be. So you have to visualize how you want to be. Do I want to be healthy? Do I want to lose weight? Do I want to eat a plant-based diet? Do I, is my priority my home being spotless? So then you got to start taking actions to make that happen, because you can think about anything for hours and hours on end, but nothing becomes effective until you take action. So it's breaking it down into smaller steps, number one, because people get overwhelmed by the enormity of it, right? They think I have to do all this stuff at once. And it's like,
Yep.
okay, let's step back and breathe. What is the final thing that you want? Okay, this is, maybe it's eating plant meals 3 days a week. Let's just use that as an example. Okay, let's step back. What 3 days do you want to do it? Okay, pick the days. What meals do you want to do it? Do you want to do it all 3 meals? Do you want to do it just 1 meal? All right, what type of foods do I like? What do I have access to purchase? So farmers markets are in full bloom right now, and you can't get any fresher than local. I always buy local. I always recommend as much organic as possible. And Pinterest, Pinterest, that'll suck you
Yes.
right. So there's all kinds of recipes. And like I said, I post recipes all the time that are available. So there's tons of recipes available. So that's, a way to do it and break it down. Okay, what's the meal I want to do? What do I need to have on hand? And not have to shop the day of I'm cooking. Let's plan ahead and make a shopping list. So I shop once for the entire week, and will my vegetables last that long? And if you can process your vegetables prior to, which I do a lot of times, and I teach that in food prep classes, where you use mason jars to store your fruits and vegetables. Use the metal rings and the metal lids, and it stays fresh for much longer. So you can have that visual, because it's glass, you can see through it. So I know what I have on hand. So I can do that and then try it. If you don't like it, so what? It's 1 day at a time. You may not like this recipe, boom. It's like a book. You read it 10 pages. I don't like this. I get a different book. Same thing with a recipe. I don't like it. I'll try a different one. And people think plants are very expensive, but they're not. I mean, you're not eating, 4 pounds of plants in a meal. I mean, seriously, right? Another technique that I tell people is to be in the moment. So one of the things that I love to do is called grounding. Go outside, get your bare feet in the grass. That sounds really weird, but there are negative ions in the earth, and the earth is emitting energy all the time. So I tell people, change your position, change your perspective, and that will work for you. So change your position. If you're sitting, stand up. So change your perspective. How am I looking at this? Am I looking at it from a fear base, or am I looking at this on how can I rather than I can't? So if you grab a cup of coffee and you get up from your desk and you go outside barefoot in the grass for 10 or 15 minutes, your whole attitude changes. You're breathing in fresh air. You're connected to Mother Earth. You're out feeling things. You're present. You're tasting your coffee. You're not just slugging it back because you need it to stay awake, right? So being present is very important as well.
And then enjoying the sun right now, because pretty soon we're not going to have sun with winter.
3 or 4 deep breaths can totally change the chemistry in your brain, taking you from a state of fear and anxiety to positivity and creativity. It's a complete ball game changer there. And then essential oils is something else that I really recommend. Using a diffuser, or you can use them on you topically, or if you ingest them, however you use your essential oils. But smells take us to a different place. I mean, think about an apple pie. If your grandmother baked apple pies once a week and you smell an apple pie, where does it take you? Right back to grandma's house, right? Same thing with essential oils. They can create that calming effect. Then meditation is another thing you can use in conjunction with them. And if you don't know how to meditate, go to YouTube. There's a bajillion meditation YouTube videos out there. So what I look for personally in meditation videos, the voice is big for me. If somebody's got one of those squeaky high pitched voices, it's like, oh no, that's like nails on a chalkboard. So I find a voice that I find calming and comforting. And then I listen to what they're saying. Are they talking about things that, don't pertain to me or out there in left field that it's like, that's a little too far out there for me. And then the type of breathing I'm doing, connecting, how long is it? 10, 15 minutes. You don't need to sit there for an hour. 10 or 15 minutes can make a huge difference. And clinical studies prove that people who meditate are naturally more relaxed all throughout the day, not just when they meditate, but all throughout their day. Their blood numbers are better. Their blood pressure's down. And health overall is much better just by meditating. And again, like I said, if you don't know how to meditate, Louise Hay is another great person I love to
Oh,
listen
I know
to.
that name.
She's a
Yes.
very calming, and she actually has Hay House Publishing Company. So
Yes.
there's a lot of health practitioners that come through her and publish their books, or will have meditations through. And there's so many people that have given free um, things for, periods of time. They may be gone by now because things are opening back up, but it's just another way. But keep searching, keep learning, keep looking, because there is no absolute. There is no, like I said, it's a journey. There is no destination. So if you look at it as a journey, like, this may work for a while, maybe I need to tweak something a little bit later. And then the last thing I love to use is a salt lamp, a Himalayan salt lamp, because again, that's negative ions that it releases in the air. And some people say, well, it may be psychological. Well, it works for me. Maybe it works for my
Exactly. You
psyche
got to
level.
do what works for you.
And again, you got to try it, and it's like, turn it on. It creates a beautiful, nice glow in the room. And you can sit down and take 4, 5, 6 breaths, get a cup of herbal tea, something like that. But just know that you're not in this forever. And that moment of anxiety, depression, or fear is not long term. It is
Mm,
very short lived, and it may be real. But what is fear? Fear is the unknown. So where does that put us in the future,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Depression is the past. We're looking behind us. We're
Yep.
reminiscing. We're like, oh, I should have, I could have, would have. It's gone. It's done. It's never coming back. Let it go. Present, now, the moment. This is all you get, is this moment. And when you connect with the present, your blood pressure levels come down, your anxiety comes down, your breathing slows, and you're here, you're now. The fear is the unknown of the future. Stay connected to now through your breath, through the sight. People will even play that game. I spy something green. My eye, what is it? I spy with my little
My
eye,
eye is
whatever
something.
that is,
Yep.
just to connect you to the present. And it makes all the difference in the world. Seriously. Eating as good as you can, drinking water. Hydration is huge. 64 ounces of water every single day for the rest
That's
of your
where
life.
I do so bad.
Huge.
I even
I
have the big cups. I bought the straws. I got a little
Good
sticker
girl.
on it, but I don't drink it.
Well, and that's another thing I've done, Michelle, is I've been running challenges, and they are free on Facebook, and I do one every month. And I just kind of started it out of a whim because my college roommate and I were texting back and forth, and she's like, "Oh, my gym is doing this. I think it was like 50 burpee challenge or something." I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to do 50 burpees every day." She goes, "Well, then let's do a challenge." So I'm like, "All right." So I dug around. I think I started in May, and I've done one every month since. And I've got like 50 or 60 people that are in this challenge with me. And then in June, I added the water challenge to it. So
Mm,
you get a chart, and you can mark off, every 8 ounces that you drink, and people post in the group, done. All you have to do is put an emoji in, a done, done. They can do either the water challenge alone, the exercise challenge alone, or put them together and do both of them. They're in there in the group. So it's a really cool way, again, to create community, because people, they chat and talk
need
and
it
have
now.
friends in there,
Yeah.
and people invite other people to it. And again, it's just connection and support and being there for other people. So I think that's huge.
How do you stay motivated? Because I'm
I
sure
think
you
it
have
always
bad days, even though you're very
we
happy and
do.
positive and you're very passionate about what you do. How do you
I
keep
am very
yourself
passionate
motivated?
because I think everybody deserves good health. And I
Mhm.
believe that we're not educated properly on how simple it is, because everybody wants to make it hard when it's not. It's just change. And what does change do? Creates fear. So it kind of, so that, see how it connects? It creates that gerbil wheel, if you will, or that infinite
Mhm.
circle. But again, it's coming back to the present. So, I have my days when I'm bad, but that's when I talk about self-love. You have to take care of yourself. This is the one temple, the one body you get. And I'm going to tell you, it needs you need it more than it needs you. You need your body to live. Your body is like, if I'm done, I'm done. So you got to treat it like a temple, not like a garbage can. It's not a dumpster. It's not a trash disposal. Would you go and buy your child a meal that is full of toxic chemical stuff, but he likes it, so I'm going to buy it anyways? No, I love my kids. I'm going to take care of them. I want to do the best for them, right? Same thing with you, but who do we leave to last? Ourselves.
Always.
And this is where self-love and self-care, an Epsom salt bath, even if it's once a week or once every 2 weeks, a hot cup of tea, journal, write things down, schedule it. That's a big thing. People say, I run out, I don't have time, I don't have time. Put it in your calendar as an appointment and do
That's a good
not
idea.
break it. You are just as important as the meeting that is going to pay you, because if you can't show up at your very best for your meetings that you're meeting with other people, you are not showing up 100%. And by taking care of yourself, it means I care enough about me to care enough about you to show up as my best. And I think that's what we all want for our businesses, right? And that's how we grow, by showing up as our best and being our best for other people, because we're here to serve people. We're not here to take, we're here to give and serve. And if we can work in a collaboration with people and realize that, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, we're in this together rather than me, then life is so much happier. And that's where I get my positivity from, that I know that if I can show up, even if I'm having a bad day, if I can get on the other side of that hour, I'm going to feel a lot better. I put on a really good game face when I'm not doing well. And I've got my days when I, come to exercise class where it's like, oh, I don't want to do this. You'd never know it though, because I don't show it, because I'm there for other people. And again, it's that mentality. Who am I serving? Who am I showing up for?
Yeah. I remember one day we met in person, I think, and this was years ago. I don't know if you remember it, but we met in person at a Starbucks. Imagine that. And we were leaving, and you went to get something out of your car, and you just gave me flowers out of nowhere.
Oh, yes.
Out of nowhere. And you just give to other people. And I think that's just wonderful. And I've always had a great relationship with you. You were there for me when I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And I still remember everything you did and gave. And you're a great person. So you definitely gave me a lot to think about. And a lot resonated with me. And you did just motivate me. That's for sure. So how can people get in touch with you?
So you can reach me on Facebook is probably an easy way. Facebook Messenger is super easy. People can text me at my phone, 585-576-8673. And that information is on my Facebook pages. So that's the easiest way. And of course, I got my Instagram account as well. I really don't check LinkedIn like I should. Sorry.
Shame. Don't tell me that.
But we have our platforms that work the best for us,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And that's another marketing tool, another day, right?
Yes, exactly. Well, make sure when this is done, if you can, just go in and comment under the video on the Facebook group, and just put all your contact information. That way people have it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
thank you so much for doing this. It's great to get other people's
Absolutely.
perspectives on how they're all dealing with this, and to see how you had to pivot. And are you still going to be offering those live free classes on your Facebook?
I probably will once we go back inside, because like I said, we don't know what's going to happen with the Y, but I've been doing the outdoor classes on my own as well with a group of people. I have an actual Facebook page for that, because people ask me, will you do this outside from the community that I was doing with the Facebook Lives? And I feel bad because of the Facebook Lives. I don't have the people that were with me through the COVID thing, but they've come to some of the live stuff, and they're living in different locations, so they're able to get back into gyms before we were. But I'm always trying to find a way to serve other people. So I'm sure something, and who knows, it might be another pivot.
Yeah, you never know with the winter coming. Well, thank you so
Right.
much. You're very motivational and inspirational, and I've always had a great relationship with you, and I always think of you. And so you're doing a great job, and thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of I don't know if you're still traveling or not, but enjoy the rest
I'm
of your
headed back to New York today, so I got to teach tomorrow morning. I'm at the Y at 8:15.
Oh, see, there you go. Well, thank you for taking a break.
Join me.
Well, thanks for taking a break to do this.
Yes, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you and all you do and what you give back as well to the community. You're phenomenal with the women group that you're doing here, and bringing people on and let us share our story, and you share yours. You've been so courageous through your whole journey, and it is a journey. So stay positive.
I always said a journey.
Ever give up, friends.
Yep.
If you think you need to give up, call me. Okay.
Yep.
I'll take your hand and I'll pull you through, because nobody should do this alone.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I love
Thank
you.
you too, honey. Love you.
Ah,
Take care.
all right.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Bye-bye.